Alright, here we go. So, this week's match is the Slow Cooker versus Funky Plebs. And the maps today will be Route 66 for the first map, which is Funky Plebs' home map, and Eichenwald for Slow Cooker's home map. Past that, Nepal is the neutral map for this week, so we may actually see some King of the Hill, depending on how this goes.
I am really hoping today that we do get to see that third game. I've been part of one game today, and this will be my second cast, and so far everything has been a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah,
Getting some more games in to finish off tonight would be fantastic.
I'd love to see something that actually gets close. I'd like to see good play from both sides, but we'll see.
Division 3, of course, so we are actually expecting a higher barrier of skill here, and hopefully that will translate into some more close games and some more funky plays. Let's see if the funky plebs can bring out the funky plays.
I'd. Mm, mm, mm. That word work. Let me just change Pachimari. I have Pachimaris.
A nice diverse range of Pachimari here as well.
Mm.
Pichu and Draenox sticking to the OG Pachimari spray. I'm loving that. Good to see that I'm also matched up with a Symmetra, one of my favourite heroes to cast.
It's gonna be interesting because I play her on attack too, and I'm not sure how well she's gonna do on the Route 66 attack. But we also see that they play Lucio sometimes, so it may go that way.
You did point out to us earlier, actually, that Symmetra on the team of the Slow Cooker, probably the namesake of the team,
Yeah,
does play pretty much exclusively Symmetra.
she does. This competitive season, they have 111 hours of Symmetra play in comp, with their SR at like topping at what 3,800? Yeah,
You can
3,837.
you can just see, you can already feel how many people have been infuriated by this Symmetra throughout this season.
Mm. Should make for an interesting match.
So aside from Symmetra, of course, what are we expecting to see from the rest of the team Slow Cooker?
It depends. Usually they have Wheezing on Diva, I believe, and Pichu on Roadhog. It may be switched, but we generally see a triple tank comp from them. Sorry. Food in my mouth. But, basically, you see a fairly standard comp from them. Sometimes triple tank, sometimes 2 DPS, with Symmetra counting as a DPS. Funky Plebs we don't know much about. Okay, we're entering game.
We can see actually that Draenox, after a little bit of scouting, is a very apt Pharah player. So we could be seeing the Pharah coming out, depending on how much of these teams have been scouting one another. You have to expect at this point that they have been.
I mean, I would hope so. That would make me feel less weird from being scouted myself. Me and my spreadsheet that I make every single week.
There's nothing bad about that. Nothing bad about coming into the cast prepared, giving our viewers everything they can possibly get out of it.
Oh, I'm talking about my matches in this tournament. Come to think, I should probably make a spreadsheet for the casting, actually.
And
Draenox looks like
starting,
they're playing Lucio.
we will be having Slow Cooker starting off with the defense, and Symmetra, of course, playing her namesake. And I'm interested to see just how that Symmetra will work on Route 66, a more open map to their home.
I mean, it'll be interesting. We've seen that this Symmetra has some weird placement for her, for her sentry turrets, so she might get creative with that. Okay, yes, it is some very creative ones already.
I do remember last week we did cast a Slow Cooker as well, and Homemade Pizza on his Reinhardt was surprisingly through and through, winning those shield wars against the enemy Reinhardt at the time. And
Pichu's
Deja Vu,
hooks are amazing. Like, every single time I see him play, it's crazy to see what he gets.
Okay, so starting this off as well, we already see the team starting to push this forward. Funky Plebs getting onto that point, just not wondering about what's around that corner so far. Winston and Diva going in the lower tunnels at the moment, just trying to scout out, push forward a little bit as we will approach the gas station. Silent Storm.
I imagine they did some research before, because Silent Storm is playing Winston. I'm not sure if it's what they normally play.
The high ground hold here from the slow cooker is almost being dismantled already, as we're starting to see this team is pushing them thin at the moment, but Deja Vu and Silent Storm taking down Wheezing, and Silent Storm taken down on the back half of that by Murray on the Soldier. Deja Vu also taking down the Symmetra there, and Kaz swapping himself off the Soldier onto the Soldier there, and Kaz taking down another one of Symmetra's. Turret takes down Deja Vu on the backside. We are starting to see Funky Plebs pull this forward, probably getting first point from this initial push.
I think so. A's is just slightly contesting from the roof, but I think they have to actually drop down now onto it. They have, and they're taken down. First point
Symmetric
looks like it's going to be, yeah. First point is almost definitely taken, because they're all streaming onto the point. They can't really do anything.
The trickle is coming back in, as you say. Kaz trying to trading off with the Wheezing. Silent Storm also dropping down onto Murray on the backside of that. Pichu getting slammed down with the hammer of Deja Vu, as Homemade Pizza is trying to contest from the outside, but taken down by the hammer of Deja Vu. Pichu throwing him up into the air with the whole hog, but taken down by a fire strike on the backside of that. Symmetra streaming into the back, trying to back up Ace, trying to take down Zala on the back of this, but slept instantly. Self-destruct coming straight out, getting two there, as Homemade Pizza and Symmetra go straight down. Kaz also finishing off A's on the backside of this fight. Still going here. I'm very surprised.
See, there are two good things about this. One is that they're just taking out the time that, you know, that Funky Plebs would get off of doing this. But the problem with this is that because they've been streaming on so much, they're going to not have their full team together when they actually need to do defense. And they did take out the Diva just now, but it's not going to be enough. Symmetra is already down. If they haven't already set up some turrets, it's going to make for really hard first defense.
We did see on the backside of that, Symmetra trying to put some more turrets down onto the spawn point. A Silent Storm just getting right up on top of high side there. Homemade Pizza trying to keep their shield wall around the side of the bar, and not really managing too much so far, not showing out anything, but Portocullis just managing to bring him down off the high ground. Ace having to fall down alongside and being contested by Silent Storm as Wheezing, and Homemade Pizza gets a Deja Vu even gets a lovely Earth Shatter down through the team, but Homemade Pizza is nano boosted at the second. Nano boost going down to Portocullis on the backside as Kaz is taken down too with the Tactical Visor. Deja Vu finishing off Homemade Pizza on the backside of this. Murray going to be chased out by Silent Storm there, concluding that push.
Funky Plebs is just really on top of this right now. They have 3 minutes still, and they only may have one contest left. Even though the defense matrix is out, it's not really doing too much. It's not being very effective for them.
We did see A's slept on the backside of that push, but there's nothing that Zala can really do about that. The rest of the team, as you say, getting the second point, 2-0, 4 minutes 25 seconds left for this final push. Plenty of time.
I mean, they've all been consistently together, pushing fairly well, only 1 or 2 people out at a time. They're keeping 3 people on the payload at all times. It's almost always in motion, because the slow cooker really isn't getting on to contest the point. They're just giving up the space.
Symmetra now has switched over onto that Pharah, trying to get some more damage down in this more enclosed space of the final point. Silent Storm just trying to bully out the Reinhardt from the Winston. Interesting to see that happening as Portocullis now holding the left side of the payload whilst Deja Vu holds the right side. The team fully together. Homemade Pizza pushing the shield line forward as the Winston and Kaz go and finish off Symmetra on the Pharah on the backside. Kaz raining down damage from those platforms as Homemade Pizza just trying to stay in there for as long as humanly possible. Gets a lovely bait and switch there. Homemade Pizza finishes off that.
Pichu doing so much work.
Not even with an ult there, and finishes off the Kaz on the backside as well. Pichu pushing this out, taking down the Diva mech. Probably going to be finishing off Portocullis. No, that would be a fire strike if Pichu takes down Silent Storm.
We all know how much work Pichu does. Like, every single time we see him play, he just is constantly on the hooks, the fire. He's just so good at doing this. But it's the first successful push that that the slow cooker have had against Funky Plebs so far. Funky Plebs playing really well this game, to be fair. Like, everything that they do is on top of it.
Not really seeing any switch-ups coming from them as well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as Homemade Pizza keeping that shield wall just behind the payload. The payload is now being pushed back as Pichu is taken down by Kaz.
They're probably going to start pushing in more because Pichu is a lot of their damage.
And Kaz, now nano-visor Kaz. He takes down one, he takes down two, and he's going into the back line. He's going to try and find Weezing, but Weezing pushes him off the point as he's now regrouping with the rest of the team. Kaz taking down Mirai on the backside.
Mirai goes down. This might be enough to stop it.
Weezing using the ult on the backside of that, trying to buy as much time as possible as Pichu brings out that whole hog, being contested by Portacustos' defense matrix. Kaz still on the high ground of that truck. Portacustos now using that ult, not taking down anybody, but buying enough space as Mirai is taken down. Mirai takes down Portacustos, even Pichu nano boosted, not doing anything there either. Homemade Pizza keeping that shield wall up.
One good defense. Oh, and Pichu with the hook on Kaz, enough to stop this attack.
We may be seeing Pichu still as the MVP, even if this team is going to lose this map, but still early days just for now.
I think so far, I have to say that Kaz is really the shining player on both of the teams. Pichu is the shining player on slow cookers right now. Symmetra sadly didn't have enough traction in this map to really put up an annoying defense, but like, Mirai has shown that he's extremely good in past games, but Pichu's just shining really hard. And Kaz is doing a lot of the work for Funky Plebs right now.
Kaz very good at finishing off those kills as well. We did see him take the high ground in the last fight. Still trying to establish this high ground control, taking down Mirai, or trying to at the very least, as Homemade Pizza gets a two-man Earth Shatter, but bait and switch, Symmetra now...
Oh, but Symmetra's taken out two, and nearly taken out Reinhardt.
Reinhardt's of Deja Vu taking down Homemade Pizza with a fire strike on the final side of that fight as Pichu gets the headshot onto Portacustos, and Ace finishes off Deja Vu with the Biotic Grenade. Regroup being forced out here for Slow Cooker. Silent Storm now has switched off over onto that Zarya. We forgot to mention that as soon as it happened, but doing work from the Winston, but now trying to do as much work as he can on the Zarya as those shields are coming
in this
out.
Position, trying to get Kaz before he gets fell into the high ground, but he's forced down.
Forced into a 1v2 there as well, as Homemade Pizza's just trying his best to keep their shield wall up as the rest of Team Slow Cooker are just fanning out and trying to get fights, as Pichu gets to hook into Deja Vu with a lovely shield from the Zarya on the backside. Mirai takes down Kaz, not being taken down by the Tactical Visor.
Both of them had the Nano Tactical Visor going on.
There can only be one.
Mirai just got his a little bit later, and he had a little bit more health with the Lucio ult coming out, and he just won that fight.
Mirai still taking control of this high ground on the side of Truck, raining down damage from the soldier. As Pichu takes down the Lucio on the backside, Mirai finishes off Portacustos with the Helix rockets, and that will be round one at 68.10 meters, 2-0 for now.
It's enough to keep them from getting it all the way in, and I'm impressed how they pulled together on defense. As soon as they switched off to Symmetra, it seemed like everything went a lot better. She's just not really set up for working well in this map.
It was a shock to see Symmetra switch over onto that Pharah. We did draw out a little bit earlier that she doesn't really have that much playtime on other heroes, still managing to do quite a bit of work there.
Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff that she plays seems to be support-based. Like, Symmetra is a support hero, air quotes support hero. Everybody pretty much agrees that she's a defense hero. Even though she gets the shields now, it's still not enough to really classify her as a support. But most of the other characters that Symmetra plays are support heroes with Lucio and Mercy, stuff like that. And it was surprising to see her come out with the Pharah and do so well.
Of course, now we are switching over, so this time around, Funky Plebs will be mounting their defense on the home map. So, what do you think that Funky Plebs will need to do to get the same push and the same result earlier as we saw in the last round?
I imagine Kaz is going to keep the high ground as much as possible, because that's what he's been doing the entire match so far, aside from the streets phase and the second point. But basically, as long as he's just on the high ground, raining down damage like he's been doing the entire time, and he keeps away from Pichu's hook, he should be okay. And him and the rest of his team are really good about contesting space. which the slow cooker hasn't really been doing as well. Homemade pizza is just kind of giving up space to make sure that his shield stays up, which is fine, but they need to just keep as much distance as they can in this map.
As for space on this first section of the map, which spaces do we need to deny? Which spaces need to be contested?
I think contested, basically you need to just contest the front of big girls. You can do that even from the high ground, so it shouldn't be too hard. They just need to play it safe, play it well, and keep as much space denied from the slow cooker as possible. Because they do have really good mechanical skill, they just need to make sure that they play up on it. Pichu failing his first hook, sadly.
Unfortunately, as you say, not being able to get anything down as Homemade Pizza is pushing this point all the way through. Pichu getting a hook onto Deja Vu, managing to take him down there. Homemade Pizza following that straight up with a charge, managing to get a fire strike onto the backside there as well, maybe getting a little bit more ult charge than he may have anticipated. The rest of the team are still staying on top of Big Earls, trying to contest as Portocullis is getting his mech scrapped straight away and scraps in himself straight away from the right. Kaz taking down A's on the backside with a lovely headshot, however, as Pichu lands another lovely hook onto Deja Vu, taking him down in the end. Wheezing managing to get the boop kill in the end there. Silent Storm taking down Homemade Pizza. Pichu managing to get one more pick, getting that whole hog already into this round, as he's just doing a lot of work here to keeping out Zala and Draenox. Draenox taken down as well from that push. Pichu now just contesting with the Ana inside Big Earls, as Porta Custos out of mech, out of life now. This will be the first point for the slow cooker.
I would love to see Funky Plebs just get all together and hold on high ground, hold on ground. They just need to hold as much space as they can. They can't let the momentum keep on building for the slow cooker. Though Kaz has the ult right now. We've been neglecting the ult charges.
We've also neglected that Symmetra is playing on the Sombra here. Ult charged up already if we're talking about those, so we could be seeing a hack on the entire team coming in from the underneath of that bridge. As Pichu lands another hook onto Kaz, but it instantly shield from Silent Storm.
And here comes the EMP.
Coming down onto most of the team. Mariah now challenging the ult. 1, 2, and 3 kills straight away. Still raining down damage.
Comes out.
Coming in, as there's another lovely Earth Shatter, not really managing to do anything as Homemade Pizza is taken down almost instantly. Gets the nano boost, however, taking down Kaz with a lovely smack to the face as Porta Custos, the only man left here, taken straight out of mech. Will he get scrapped again? Another lovely hook coming in from Pichu. This man is deserving of those golden weapons.
Yeah, man, he really earns that stuff. Like, he's just on top of it every single time we see him. He doesn't die very often because his support keep him alive, but he just works so well.
Not even getting a chance to talk here as Funky Plebs are mounting a straight defense. Pichu also channeling the ult inside the Graviton Surge, not being able to do anything with that. Porta Custos now also coming in to regroup the rest of the team, pushing the slow cooker off of this huge momentum swing that they were on.
Now the slow cooker has to get that momentum back, because if they just let it stay halted like this, it's going to be a really hard fight going forward. And I don't like how Mirai is going all the way behind, because he's just by himself right now. The rest of his team's not giving much of a distraction. The best thing about having like a flanker is when the rest of your team is distracting them, you can actually move in and get it. Oh, they're streaming in on the back of the point. It's kind of interesting to see.
And as we pick up from this here, Homemade Pizza keeping that shield line, keeping Wheezing and Ace behind them. Both healers sectioned off alongside Homemade Pizza as Symmetra is going to be smacked off of the bridge there.
Pichu getting a hook on Zala too, just taking out the Ana before the fight even starts.
Deja Vu making a charge in, missing Pichu just by an inch as Deja Vu is now taken down. Pichu getting a lovely headshot there on the finish. Symmetra now having a duel with Porta Custos, denied from getting back into the mech as as Wheezing channels his ult from the Lucio. Pichu getting another hook, Silent Storm pulled in, not being able to do anything so far. But unfortunately, we are seeing Zala get a healing grenade to deny the healing from Team Slow Cooker. As Homemade Pizza is one of the only people still left on this point. Pichu now coming up on the backside. Ace trying to do his best here as the rest of the team is now put down by Deja Vu. Smacked onto the floor and smacked out of this fight. Almost Pichu, the only person left here.
By himself. He's about to go down too. He's down. That's the end of that push.
I have to say I'm kind of disappointed that Deja Vu isn't playing the Tracer, just so we can get a little bit more annoyed by those voice lines, but still doing fantastic work on that Reinhardt.
He's doing
Winston
a really
now
good
coming
job.
up.
So many people on Funky Plebs are just really on top of it. And it's surprising to see Silent Storm be going on Winston again, though.
We did pick up on this earlier, how a Winston and a Reinhardt can be counterintuitive, but not getting into that just yet as Homemade Pizza follows up from the hack. And also
Diva
getting
Mech
the
goes
nano
down
boost.
super fast.
Two people. Well, the Diva Mech, the Lucio, and the Diva all taken down as this payload is going to be pushed forward after Pichu stops snoozing on the side there by the dumpster. Getting a lovely hook onto Kaz, not really finishing anything there though.
Kaz got the nano boost earlier, but he didn't really do much. He was just taking one fight with Lucio and didn't even win that.
This is still a back cap on the point as the rest of Funky Plebs were trying their best as Kaz just goes straight in and killed instantly by Murray. One kill picked up there from the self-destruct. Homemade Pizza finishes this push off. We're going 2-2. Can we get 68.1 meters?
As a Lucio main, seeing that Lucio go down to Homemade Pizza's hammer just strikes me in a certain place, and it's not fun.
There is something scary about playing a Lucio. You have to heal your teammates. You have to provide that utility, but Reinhardt's hammer is just so large.
Especially if you're trying to contest the point. Contesting the point with Lucio is extremely dangerous.
So, speaking of extremely dangerous, Silent Storm playing with fire there as he jumps into 3 members, gets some damage down, jumps straight back out. And one more hook coming out there from Pichu. Diva Mech not going down just yet, but he's going to go straight up and meet with Symmetra as one hammer down comes in. Not hitting too much as Deja Vu manages to hit a few people around with the hammer. Also finished off there on the backside as Pichu on this Roadhog still doing work, positioning really well, pulling in the ulting Winston onto him as the ulting Winston himself finishes off A's. We're seeing these Symmetra just jump onto this point, contesting with 2, jumping back out there on the backside as Pichu gets 2 kills there on the Roadhog again. This man is doing work. Give this guy another couple of golden guns because he will do some work with them. Symmetra jumping back in whilst invisible, trying to get onto the back of the point. Another EMP is channeled. Followed straight up with the Earth Shatter as Deja Vu is pulled straight out. Kaz not getting to channel that ult just yet as he's hacked on the backside.
Deja Vu just really got screwed over by that EMP.
Pichu still on the backside here, contesting with Draenox as this Lucio is trying his best, but pulled straight in once again. Pichu deadly accurate with these hooks. 2 headshots landing 2 kills there. The Winston and the Lucio both going down. Homemade Pizza still holding the shield line forward as Pichu trying to get another hook. Tactical Visor is now coming out and responded instantly. Where there can only be one. This time around it's Kaz. They're both having turns on this as Kaz gets one more kill. Pichu finishing off the Diva Mech on the backside, getting slept around the left-hand side.
Yeah, Pichu and Weezing are the only ones who can do anything at this point. With this amount of time, they really need to just contest it. See if they can put it into overtime.
This is 5 seconds left. I don't think anybody's
charge in. Oh, he does, but he charges right past it.
As the Lucio who comes straight onto that point, Murray now onto that Tracer, trying to secure as much time as possible, but taken down by the Earth Shatter, depleting this overtime a little bit more. Good to see that that Earth Shatter was still in reserves. Winston from Pichu not being able to get on the point. And that's
first match.
Incredible match.
It was a great match from both sides, I have to say. Was not expecting that sort of fight. So, it is now Funky Plebs 1, Slow Cooker 0.
I have to say, I'm very shocked that
Silent
Slow
Storm,
Cooker
play of the match?
Oh.
What did he do? Okay.
1, 2. I'm guessing the jump there actually managed to land some damage down onto more people. As he's just able to tickle down 2 members.
I mean, that was decent. I have to say, that was decent. It wasn't what I expected to be play of the match. I expected Kaz's nano visor to be one of it, but guess not.
Seeing the numbers coming out from Kaz there as well, picking up on him, he was able to deal 25,000 damage throughout both of those rounds. And considering that this was a 16-minute game, we're seeing well over the 1,000 a minute mark. Fantastic play from him on that soldier.
Alright, so let's change up the names.
However, going into Eichenwald, do we have to assume that we naturally have to assume that the slow cooker have an advantage with this being their home map.
We would assume so. I really hope that I see them playing May again. They did that the first week and it went really well for them, but they didn't last week. And it didn't go quite as well, but they did stop the people before they got the point last time, so we will see.
Last week, drawing on that as well, we did see the slow cooker bring out, I think it was the 2-0. And from that, their pushes were insane. They got the full hold on their defensive round as well. Against Funky Plebs, after seeing how they played through that game, I'm not sure if we're going to see the same.
I think what we have to see, what we have to expect, is that if Funky Plebs can push through the choke point, which Slow Cookers is amazingly good at defending this first choke, if they can push through the first choke point and just get on, they can possibly win the entire thing. But if they can't deal with this choke effectively, quickly, then it may go to the Slow Cooker. I really expect to see a lot of good play from Kaz and a lot of good play from their Reinhardt, Deja Vu. But if the rest of them, like, if they can't bait out the wall or do anything like that, then they may not be able to do this properly.
Coming within the name as well, we've seen that the slow cooker on this map, they rely on slowing people through those choke points with the Symmetra turrets, and then following that up by singling out that one member, leaving this a 5v6 until the next trickle comes in. I'm really looking forward to seeing how their attack goes here, however.
It's interesting to see Funky Plebs playing triple tank again. Like, Alan, Reinhardt, and Winston together, I mean, sometimes it works fairly well, but if the people aren't entirely in sync and knowing how to take space properly, then it's just really bad. And also, it's strange seeing them hold so far back towards the point. They're treating this like it's a normal map like King's Row, instead of trying to use the choke effectively.
The choke here is one of the most effective points, slowing down the majority of uncoordinated teams coming in. But we are going against a very coordinated team here, this being the Slow Cooker's home map, Pichu missing that first hook as Deja Vu keeping that shield wall up, and a wall coming in there from Symmetra's May.
Yeah. On attack. I think they were expecting a May on the enemy team, because that is a good trick for doing that. Homemade Pizza taken out by Kaz early, though.
Straight away.
Getting Zala just quickly with the hook.
These trade kills are coming in quick and fast, as Pichu is the only person left on the back at this point. Not going to be able to do any work there as he's taken down, staggered back slightly, but
Pichu
we're going to wait for
frequently
respawns.
the last person alive for Slow Cookers. Frequently, it comes down to him being the last person up. Interesting, though. I wonder why that is.
We're seeing another Sombra here come out from Symmetra. Maybe the May not doing as much work as they wanted on this initial push. Homemade Pizza starting this wall, coming up and trying to approach this point slowly as Symmetra on the Sombra has managed to flank around the back whilst invisible. As another hook comes in, Porta Custos taken down straight away. Deja Vu channeling that ult, not really getting anything. Deja Vu getting the charge onto Pichu, however. And once again, a clean defense coming out from the side of the Funky Plebs.
I wonder if the Slow Cooker was expecting this sort of defense, because when they choose May is usually a countermeasure against another May on this, because you can just bait out the May wall with the May wall, and you can run in immediately after, but it seems like they weren't expecting to not have a May on defense at all.
Straight push coming straight in. Homemade Pizza putting that aggression. Symmetra back onto point again. Pichu managing to take down Deja Vu. Kaz channeling that tactical visor, managing to take down 1-2, and now Silent Storm finishing off on the backside of this. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be another Funky Plebs hold as Silent Storm takes down another member of the team. Kaz in the air and raining true damage from above. This man thinks he's a Pharah.
Silent Storm just pushed Pichu off the edge. That was great to see. I love it when I see Ult and Winston knock people off.
I think we need a custom game where it's just Winston only ever in ult, and there needs to be a boxing Winston skin. It will be just maybe a ring in the middle of the map.
Maybe for summer games again this time.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to go straight back into the action, though, as Deja Vu is hooked
Oh.
straight back in. Homemade Pizza getting the counter charge out. Deja Vu once again counter charges everywhere today. Kaz getting the Helix Rockets to kill off Pichu on the backside of this fight, as Mirai is now taking onto the Farah, trying to create as much space as possible with as much damage. Only getting some damage onto that shield at the moment. One Fire Strike coming through, not going to make anything happen here.
This is an interesting defense, like, from Funky Plebs. Seeing them hold so far back and not having slow cookers really taking advantage of it is interesting. Oh, Mirai takes out Kaz before the match even starts.
Homemade Pizza getting one Earth Shatter down onto two members of the team, but Deja Vu charging out Wheezing on the backside. Deja Vu now trying to regroup with the rest of the team as Zala takes down Homemade Pizza on the backside of this. Pichu, the only person on the point, contesting with two. Probably not going to manage anything here as he's healing up around that point. But Symmetra still on that Sombra, trying to do as much work as Aze is taken down. One EMP comes in as Portacustos takes him down on the backside of that fight. Pichu hanging around this corner a little bit and trying to regroup up with Wheezing, but taken down by Kaz's Helix Rockets there. Fantastic shooting from this man.
They really have to just get on to point at this time, because if they don't, they're just not going to put it into overtime.
Wheezing is forced to use his ult there to get Homemade Pizza onto that point. Now Wheezing forced onto that point himself as Mirai is getting nano boosted as Deja Vu trying to take him down. Mirai getting the ult down onto only Deja Vu. Aze, the only person who could have tried, taken out instantly.
Full hold. I have to say that I am surprised by that. Like, the hold was so different from Funky Plebs. I'm not trying to make that sound bad, it's just something that I've never seen before. Reinhardt holding that far back without a Bastion or anything is really interesting to see, and seeing how it worked off so well with Silent Storm moving around on Winston at the choke was just really odd in a good way. Odd in a good way.
You have to think that the Slow Cooker have played so many maps on this being their home map that they're used to seeing the standard things come out, maybe taken aback and not really being able to push anything through such a different hold, maybe taken for a loop a little bit there.
They could have just pushed in, like, through the choke point and moved into the left. I know Winston was kind of guarding the choke and doing some poke damage, you know, tickling them with the lasers a bit, but they could have just pushed through the left. If they all went together and ran in, I'm not sure that the other team, Funky Plebs, would have been able to take them all on. If they could have gotten 2 or 3 kills, they could have just regrouped immediately and pushed in again. But they didn't coordinate the pushes properly, I don't think, because they're so used to seeing what they're used to on this map. It was just entirely different. Also, no May again this week for the Slow Cooker.
Symmetra coming straight out of this, though, and Symmetra getting some more standard turret placements at the beginning of this, whilst they're starting to get their defensive hold all sorted out and ready to go. We're seeing Homemade Pizza try to establish that shield line a little bit further forward, positioning now for the fire strike through the team at the beginning. Nope, just falling back.
If nothing else out of this, we can definitely know that the Slow Cooker will have some new ideas on how to defend this point.
Pichu getting that initial hook straight in onto Deja Vu as he's pulled all the way into those Symmetra turrets, taken down instantly.
Burned entirely.
Gosh. And only from 3 turrets there as well. A lot of damage coming in for the team in support. And Pichu once again with another hook into Kaz this time. Kaz taken down instantly.
There are 4 turrets. There's one tricky one right between the wall and the staircase into the computer store. It's very hard to see.
Winston now trying to dive over that point, missing the first jump in.
Entirely.
Gotta think he's going to be slightly embarrassed now as he's making the slow walk back to the main bridge. Pichu missing the hook this time around. Homemade Pizza still holding the shield line as Deja Vu just charges through those Symmetra car wash. Pichu getting one hook, taking down Silent Storm on the backside. If nothing else, it's going to be a trade as Mirai takes him down.
And the teleporter comes out.
Homemade Pizza onto Portacustos there as Homemade Pizza is now charging through the alleyway, trying to finish off that Lucio, killed by Symmetra in the end. Kaz now on that soldier, taken down by Aze on the backside. Zala, last person left, gets 1 sleep, gets 1 kill. And
I really hope that Mirai doesn't waste the teleport charge from that. The teleport is in a fairly non-standard place, right behind the gate, instead of up in the hunting lodge. Mirai does use a charge.
Pichu now holding on this bridge, trying to find a couple of cheeky hooks over the top of Deja Vu's shield here. No extra turrets being set up by Symmetra at the beginning of this, as he does get one hook straight in onto Draenox and finishes him off with ease. More turrets now being pulled out by Symmetra in very cheeky places inside bushes. Pichu still keeping that hold on the bridge, forcing the team to go around the corner, giving himself a little bit more time and space to work with. A's trying to back up Pizza.
Silent Storm
Teleporter
behind,
destroyed.
taking out the teleporter.
One hook missing once again, as Deja Vu is just keeping the shield wall. Porta Custos charging through that on the Zarya now, doing his very best as Pichu takes down one, Homemade Pizza Dad takes down one, and another two. Kaz finished off there at the beginning of that fight, as Pichu still trying to search for these hooks, but Homemade Pizza doing the work this time round. Pichu takes down Deja Vu, however, trying to redeem himself, can't be the non-shining member of this team.
No, Pichu really has to do some work. We know that he's, like, most of the time he's the MVP of their team, but it just needs to secure that place very well. Oh, and a pharmacy combo now. Should be interesting
Silent
to see how
Storm
they do.
has already started to do some work taking down that teleporter, but
taken out.
instantly a lovely hook there from Roadhog, just managing to establish easy shots for A's. Gotta imagine that was a lovely flick, as Kaz now switching over onto the Tracer. Pichu still keeping this aggressive position on the bridge.
New teleporter coming out in a very interesting position. I've never seen that one before. Silent Storm literally hanging right over it.
Maybe another thing for the surprise factor here, as Homemade Pizza takes one charge, but unfortunately gets outplayed on the other side there. Deja Vu trying to do his best, but manages to get himself killed off in the end as the nano-boosted Roadhog ult comes out.
Imagine if this is a full hold and it's a tie, we could be going into 4 games for this match.
At least we'd see our third game as Silent Storm goes off the edge there. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe that was intentional.
They really need to run to this point now, because if they don't, then this is over.
15 seconds left. Pichu missing the first hook, waiting on the recharge of that as Deja Vu is trying his very best. Gets slept instantly as he comes in, and then the Earth Shatter. This man is truly down and out for the count as Pichu takes down 2, takes down 3 as Draenox now on that point, trying to have a duel with Mirai, but you've got to imagine that the soldier is going to be heavily favored here, as Aze is the man who takes him down of all people.
Kaz behind, but he's the only person who can get to the point right now, and he is not getting there. This is going to go into possibly 4 matches for this round, depending on how well they do in the next point. King of the Hill, which I've never seen the slow cookers play. This will be entirely different than normal.
We asked for 3 games at the beginning. We could be treated to 4.
Yeah, that would be great.
With both of these teams
that is
as well,
an interesting no hero for the...
Nobody won. Nobody won. It was a tie.
Weezy play of the match. Zenyatta play of the match is entirely irregular.
All very tranquil here as well, as the work is being done.
Capitalizing on those Discord ords. That was great. Kaz doing 14,000 damage.
Again, 8 minutes and 19 seconds of the game. Well over 1,000 damage per minute there. And yeah, as you say, going over to Nepal. With both of these teams, as we say, I will elaborate on this being a treat if it does go to 4 games, because both of these teams have been surprising from both sides. Slow Cooker pulling out a hold, which we expected, but Funky Plebs also pulling out a hold, which we did not expect in the slightest, and an interesting one at that as well. So, I'm really looking forward to this Nepal map. No, Oasis.
No. The rules are, if they win Nepal, if Slow Cooker wins Nepal, then it goes to Oasis.
I'm not sure if those are disappointed OKs in the chat that we can see right now.
Yeah, possibly. Okay, I need to change the names in the stream. Oh, wait. Wait, what? Okay, yes, I still need to change the name in the stream.
It looks like we have the slow cooker versus the slow cooker. Interesting match, another tie possible.
Oh no, if that was the tie, then it'd be fine. Whoever won that one, we would go to 4 rounds.
It is quite odd to actually see these games go to ties. There have been very few ties actually coming out so far. And in honesty, I'm still shocked that that was a tie coming out there.
Funky Plebs had such a weird hold that I was really expecting Slow Cooker to just push through. I was expecting Slow Cooker to be able to pull a full hold, but it was just very interesting to see it actually happen.
So to quickly confirm, we are going to be going over to Nepal. As that round was a tie, it does become completely discounted. We are still at 1-0 here.
So tiebreaker is best of 3 as far as I'm aware, but Nepal is best of 5.
Okay.
Have to just confirm some rules for them before we move on.
It'll be interesting to see, as you say, we've never seen the slow cooker actually on a King of the Hill map. Just what sort of playstyle they will adopt here, you have to expect they will have played King of the Hills in scrims, in matches, whilst they're playing together in quick play or competitive. So, will they still bring out things like the Symmetra? I'm pretty sure Pichu will still be playing on that Roadhog. It'll be such a shame to not see him on that, though it would be quite interesting to see him on other heroes as well.
Okay, I need a tiebreaker to decide the winner. They're going to do it how they like. Even if I'm right,
okay.
It's not. I'm not trying to be indignant. Even if I'm correct, it is not my call. They are the owners of the lobby.
Still Oasis, even if we are there, it's still a King of the Hill map. What are we expecting to see out of both teams here?
I'm expecting Symmetra out of the slow cooker. Funky Plebs, I think they're probably going to keep the same sort of comp with Kaz on Soldier. Should be interesting.
We have drawn attention to Kaz in so many occasions already. Just the amount of damage he's putting out and how many kills he's confirming on the back end of fights with that Soldier. A jump pad here could be an interesting mechanic that I'm hoping the teams use.
I'm not so sure, but we'll see. Okay, so best of 3 for this map, because they've chosen to use this as a tiebreaker. So, if Funky Plebs wins this one, then it is over. If Slow Cooker wins this one, then we go to best of 5 on Nepal.
Okay.
Which would be interesting. Maybe extending this cast for another hour.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We could be in for a long set of games.
Possibly another 20 minutes for this one, and maybe 30 for Nepal. So,
both teams have fairly similar comps coming out. However, Symmetra, as you mentioned, will be playing on this Symmetra once again. Mirai taking himself and taking the mantle up against Kaz's Soldier on Soldier.
I'm surprised Weezing is going with Zenyatta. Zenyatta's very good for this, but Lucio's speed is such an advantage on King of the Hill maps, especially if there isn't another Lucio. You can definitely walk circles around the enemy team.
Establishing control of that point first is something which we always try to draw on, as we are seeing Draenox's speed boost come in very big there, as Kaz is already able to set up the high ground position, supported by Silent Storm, but we're seeing the entirety of the slow cooker now just trying to push onto that high ground. Deja Vu and Portacustos will be out of position if this push manages to go through. Silent Storm missing another jump there.
Homemade pizza slept.
And
Deja Vu goes down
kill.
though.
It looks like Slow Cooker are going to establish control of this point first, as no real kills are coming out on the backside. And as I say that, the
Oh,
Portacustos.
Portacustos pulled in by Pichu. I would love to see Slow Cookers win this map just so we can see a 4 series. I don't think that has happened this entire tournament yet. I would love to see that, and love to be the person who's casting that.
A's still on that high ground alongside Wheezing and Mirai. Mirai just putting damage into the Reinhardt shield at the second, as the entirety of Funky Plebs are trying to establish control of this middle point so they can try and push in.
It didn't seem like they knew where they were going to push in, because a few of them were on the front and before Silent Storm just decided to go through the right.
And it looks like the fight is going to start already as Silent Storm has got onto the backside of the team, trying to put damage down onto Wheezing at the moment, but pushed off by Homemade Pizza. Deja Vu now is the person who is trying to take that frontline mantle up against Symmetra.
Oh,
Symmetra
taking
him down on the backside of that fight. Pichu, however, taking out Portacustos once again. Symmetra with another kill onto the Winston.
Silent Storm fell off the map. It wasn't him doing anything. He died by falling off the map.
Isn't it supposed to go the other way? Winston is the one supposed to be killing Symmetra, but Symmetra managing to take down Silent Storm with some well-placed turrets, and the shield generator is now
shield
coming
generator. In a nice, secure position behind. They're not going to be able to get to that unless they really spend some time. And I don't think they're going to be able to spend some time with this amount of time left on the point. With only like 25%, they really need to get on it.
No Pharah coming in yet, but Silent Storm just jumping straight up, slept instantly by Ace. Looked like he was going to start the teabag there, but unfortunately...
taken out by Symmetra again.
Symmetra taken down. Homemade Pizza finishing that up. Symmetra getting another. Mirai channeling that tactical visor now, getting a kill onto Kaz. As Portacustos looks like he's just about to go down here, manages to find himself a nice secure position, and as I say it, it happens again. Mirai takes him down, finishes off that kill on the end. Unstoppable Soldier coming on at this point. Mirai taking, well...
That looks like it might be the match. It is the match. Well, not the match. It's the round. Sorry. But I think that maybe the Slow Cookers should have King of the Hill as their map.
Really good overtime control coming in there as well from the Slow Cooker, who knew they were on overtime, knew how to play this timing session, just keeping everyone off the point. And I have to say, Pichu channeling that ult at just the right time to keep any further force on that overtime from coming in.
And Homemade Pizza really knew to just hold his ult until the end so that he could stop them from getting on. It was very good play. It was very good play from the side of the Slow Cooker.
It's good to see in these higher division games as well that we are seeing macro awareness start to develop on a different level to other teams. And with the holding of ults there until the end, both teams were aware of the time in the map and just when they should hold their ults until to try and, well, secure the map. As we're seeing, the Slow Cooker now starting that shield line on the lower ground. Funky Plebs taking the high ground this time.
Oh,
Mirai finishing
Kaz
off
being taken out.
Kaz on the Tracer this time around. Not something we've seen from him so far. Pichu.
Oh, pause
Coming in.
Disconnect.
DC. As the control point was just about to unlock as well. What are you expecting from this high ground position that Funky Plebs have now that one member of the team is down?
As much as I would like Slow Cooker to win, I think that if Kaz would switch back over to Soldier and hold this high ground on it, then he would be very good here, because that is an amazing position for Soldier to rain hell from. But right now, we'll see where it's at.
Pichu is holding this aggressive position, knowing that one member of the team is actually down. Probably going to try and take off the cars as he comes back in, as Slow Cooker have managed to get this point first time around, 3% to nothing at the moment. Cars still sticking to that Tracer as Pichu's taking the aggressive position, trying to find the hook, with the hook coming out from Deja Vu this time around, trying to outshine Pichu as much as he possibly can, but will we see anything further come from him with any form of consistency? Pichu and Symmetra now pushing around through the little outbuilding on the right-hand side of this map. Kaz taking down Symmetra. Silent Storm contesting with Homemade Pizza at the moment, who's being shot at from two separate angles. Kaz trying his best here, managing to switch through the Roadhog hook as Deja Vu lands the hook this time around.
Pichu, you're not down too, though.
Silent Storm on the Zarya this time
down
around.
A tank.
Slow Cooker now being pushed off of this point as Deja Vu lands another hook. This man is trying his very best to prove that there's not only one Roadhog in this match alone. Silent Storm just pushing further forward as the rest of the Slow Cooker are trying to get their respawns in, regroup, whilst also dealing some damage down on the backside. Deja Vu just trying to get some right clicks through the team as Portacustos dodges that hook there from Pichu as quickly as possible.
The shield generator will probably help him with this next push too. Oh, but it's taken out immediately by Kaz's
Instantly by Kaz. Kaz just did not want that shield gen there whatsoever, and Kaz taking down Symmetra as well. Tactical Visor now coming in from Mirai, who's just trying to rain some damage down from the high ground position. Getting damage across the team, managing to finish off Draenox on the backside of that fight as Homemade Pizza just ignoring Kaz on the backside, Wheezing challenging the Transcendence as Pichu also pushing in. Silent Storm taken off on the backside, Pichu taking down Deja Vu. This man's getting some revenge. Unstoppable Tracer on this point, but very stoppable.
Portacustos running back, out of mech now. Taken care of by Pichu. Again, Pichu has to establish dominance.
It seems like the rounds are switched here quite heavily as Mirai doing more work on the soldier than Kaz it was doing last round. And Pichu and Deja Vu having this nice Roadhog battle, which is actually becoming a pleasure to cast at the second.
Yeah, it's a really fun match right now. Interesting to see Kaz not on soldier. I think it would probably do better for him to be on soldier, but it's an interesting match. I'd love to see how it goes.
Kaz with his ult up at the second. Let's see if he's going to be able to get any work done with that, as the rest of the Funky Plebs are trying to push themselves onto this point now.
Oh, Portacustos is taken out on the side by Pichu.
Pichu is just not dealing with this as the hook hook comes in. Pichu wins that fight
out,
easily.
Establishing dominance over Deja Vu on that Roadhog pick. Oh, the panic ult. It's a panic ult.
As Kaz takes him down in the end of that, but Symmetra still on this point, uncontested.
Remember, if the Slow Cooker wins this second round because it's best of 3, they take this, and then we go to Nepal for the last map. And it looks like we're going to Nepal!
Mirai on that soldier.
Oh man. The first 4 round of this entire tournament. And we're casting it. Oh, Symmetra with Symmetra.
I have to give a shout out to Panzer Panda in chat, who's saying that the Slow Cooker finally warmed up, as in this play of the game we are seeing Symmetra's gun finally start to get warmed up with that damage ramp there, taking down 2 with 1 assist on the third of that as well.
Also, hello Panda. I know you. I know you very well.
Mirai this time round also on the damage per minute train, 10,000 in a 6-minute 35-second game. Very quick game.
Slow Cookers took full cards for that game as well. It's impressive. And now I don't have to switch the score. They're both 1-1. I just have to switch the names. Okay.
We had questions going into that game as to how Slow Cooker would actually work on the King of the Hill map. So far, I've got to say, very impressed.
If they keep on going into the next rounds like this, they'll take the match. I really want to see an interesting match, though. I would love to see this stretch on as long as possible. We have been casting for almost an hour. Let's see.
There was a question coming out.
Admin says King's Row.
From a lot of the Overwatch streamers, before Symmetra was changed, a lot of streamers were questioning whether Symmetra would be the new King of the Hill pick. We are seeing it work here, and as a lot of people do say at the moment in time that it's not really the King of the Hill pick, it's only the cheesy defensive strat. You can't deny it did tons of work in establishing control, getting that shield generator up.
Okay, so sadly, not Nepal, King's Row. But, this will still be interesting. I've never seen either of these teams play on this map, so, and we're still the first 4 in the series.
I feel like King's Row has become too familiar for me today, playing a game on it, casting a game on it, and now we're coming up to the second cast of the day on King's Row.
And I played my own match on it yesterday as well, which you also casted, so...
It's been a weekend of London.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm starting to run out of pub jokes that I can make. I'm starting to run out of all of the England jokes I can possibly make, actually. So
You
I'm
just
gonna
have
have to
to
think of something new.
you have to like critique the restaurant and be like their fish and chips are really subpar. Like
The chippy. The first time I casted this map, Sindane and I had a discussion about the Bell Fish and Chip Shop and how it's just a shop front. You can look at it, but then
yeah.
you go around the corner and suddenly it's a bookshop.
Well, okay, so there is the bookshop, and then there is Hoof and Haunch, which I expect is a pub. And then there is the like fish and chip place, which is also a fish and chip place. So there's a pub right next to a fish and chip place, and then down the street there is another pub, Gordon's, like Gordon's
Gordon's.
like
Gordon's. It sounds like an electric shop.
It could
The
be.
Hoof and Haunch looks like a butcher's.
Maybe.
The Fox and the Bear, I believe. Yep, the Fox
Yeah,
and the
Fox and
Bear is
Bear.
the pub.
I mean, it makes sense if they're all different, but I've
These
seen before with them on the
symmetric
same.
turrets.
Okay, so
These are incredible. As we're seeing the soldier jump straight through these symmetric
Oh,
turrets,
I
the entire team
change
coming
the name.
down.
I need to change the name back. Let's see. The name changes are incorrect.
That's okay, I'll just keep going for now. The Silent Storm keeping the high ground here with that Reinhardt Symmetra balls, just going through that as much as possible. That shield being taken down at an alarming rate. Now the barrier completely failed as the team are going to have to fall back to this alleyway position, heal up and reset themselves here. Deja Vu on the Roadhog once again, trying to contest with Pichu as Pichu gets the hook. Pichu establishing control, homemade pizza. You stole that kill, my man. But there's no problem at the second as Draenox on Pichu. Pichu is
Pichu's
fantastic
on
with these
fire today. I have to say, he's really good at doing this Roadhog.
cars, doing his best to jump over the side, but he's isolated now on this high ground by himself. Can he just get down as much damage as possible? He's not
Mireille
taking
going in to chase after him as well.
This 1v1 could be something amazing as the healing is also already established. Cars winning out that fight, keeping the high ground for now as Homemade Pizza is also forced to charge back. The rest of the team now from Funky Plebs are having to fall down onto the low ground, coming from behind Statue. Deja Vu trying to establish Statue control, but Pichu is trying his very best as Tac Visor comes down from Cars. Cars only gets one with that. Deja Vu gets a second on A's as Homemade Pizza is forced out by Porta Custos.
A teleporter online.
Storm.
That may be enough for them to all get back up to the point in time.
3 people so far as Symmetra just pushing in by herself, focusing down onto that Zala. The left click is intense right now as she takes down the one. Pichu getting one and Symmetra getting the other onto Zala. A's taken down by Silent Storm on the backside of that. Gonna look like it's a full hold here as Symmetra.
Oh.
If you cannot hammer her down, you might as well charge her into a wall as Deja Vu gets the wheezing pick as well. Deja Vu forcing out here with the ult. Pichu getting the counter ult as well. Who will be the Alpha Roadhog? Let's just find out right now as the post box control is established. One taken down by Mariah with Tac Visor there. Mariah doing his very best.
Oh, Mariah taking out
Banana
Kaz.
boost on
That's
him.
an important pick for him. They all need to get on the point or else this is over. This fighting is pointless. And the fight was pointless. None of them got on.
Ults wasted there in that exchange as Deja Vu gets to hook onto
Oh.
Mariah to finish that off.
It's a beautiful hook, but that was painful.
The bells are ringing and the soldier is shooting. He's just doing his best trying to force people off of this first corner, get some more damage, maybe pad his stats a little bit more. Kaz maybe a little bit embarrassed from not getting carded last round.
Maybe so.
First corner coming up here.
I would love to see the slow cooker actually pick Koth as their home map. Because
After
they did
those
so well on that.
performances.
The performance was really good. You can't pick Oasis as your map, of course, but it would just be so good. Okay, Homemade Pizza moving back on, controlling the space as much as possible as the ult comes out.
Wheezing just doing his best to keep the team fully healthy there as Porta Custos pulling it in from behind. Mate, you got to think he's a little bit out of position there as Wheezing takes him down with ease. Homemade Pizza just falling back. Pichu pushing forward, trying to get some more hooks here. Gets one straight down onto
Kaz.
Kaz.
That is an important pick, too, because we all know that Kaz is their primary damage dealer. Especially with 3 tanks on their team. Deja Vu is doing extremely good as the Roadhog, and he's doing a lot of damage, but Kaz is still primary damage dealer for their entire team.
Silent Storm taken down almost instantly as
wasted
Homemade
ult.
Pizza misses that ult into Silent Storm, but he's trying to redeem himself. He gets in, but unfortunately we're seeing another ult come out, not doing too much. Reinhardt ult's going astray here. Porta Custos pulled off on the backside as D.Va is just contesting Zala's Ana right now, taking him down in the end. We forgot to mention entirely that Symmetra has switched over onto the D.Va this time around.
Yeah. Interesting to see her play so many different things when really her account is entirely Symmetra.
Pichu now just keeping control here. The Reaper is coming out, trying to counter off Pichu, but Pichu does not care about counters. One more hook coming in, and Deja Vu trying to do as much work as he can. Homemade Pizza just trying to keep this push through the pub. This is a bar brawl, and it's going so well at the moment, but Silent Storm getting a fire strike going through. Porta Custos getting down that Graviton Surge. Deja Vu probably using a little bit too much to kill down the rest of the team as he's using the scrap gun to make the scrap out of the D.Va mech there at the very end.
And Kaz taking high ground, likely about to drop on the enemy team. He does not have his ult yet, but he is getting close, and having that high ground is always a good thing.
Symmetra pulled in by Deja Vu, but Pichu not liking that anyone's playing Roadhog either. Pichu wants this pick all to himself.
He is establishing dominance over the enemy.
And a lovely shield did come through there, trying to block off any follow-up coming through from Silent Storm's ultimate. Weezing using the ult from the Zenyatta on the backside of this as Pichu gets...
Oh, it canceled the enemy ult too!
I was about to swear a little bit too heavily there.
Oh,
Symmetra pulls out the self-destruct, but not managing to do anything with it, but getting one kill on Silent Storm on the backside as Homemade Pizza finishes off this.
It's enough for Slow Cooker to retake the hold, though, which is wonderful for them.
Slow Cooker now having the spawn advantage here as well. We've got to think that they are going to do some work with this, as Deja Vu is just forced to cower and walk back to the rest of the team. I think I saw a wave come out there. Goodbye, danger. Mirai pushing forward now, taking the stairs, but he's going to meet Deja Vu almost instantly as Deja Vu is sleeping on the job, as one whole biotic grenade fills up the rest of the team.
Funky Plebs really need to get on, because if they're not on shortly, then it's not going to go into overtime.
10 seconds left here as Silent Storm is pushing the shield line forward, playing as aggressively as he possibly can, but Pichu is just trying to find a hook straight in onto Kaz. Pichu takes him down. One shatter from Homemade Pizza. Homemade Pizza charging into the enemy team once again, trying to do as much work as he can, but Weezing with another
Slow Cooker had an extreme ult advantage going into that fight as well. It really helped them out. All of those coming out at the timing that it did just really helped them keep and secure this point. They didn't even give up the streets phase, which usually is a thing that goes extremely well in the attacking team's positioning.
And that's something we see from a lot of these hybrid pushes. Point 1 is very hard to get. Point 2
is a steamroll unless you can really shut down the momentum of the attackers, and Slow Cooker just really was able to do that this time.
A lot of teams play on point 2 to try and get those 6 ults fully stacked up, to just try and get the aggression and get the momentum going into the final stages of the map. Slow Cooker not even needing that, shutting down the momentum almost instantly. Well, almost instantly, 112 meters to take here. Now, switching over the sides, we're going to be seeing the Slow Cooker taking the attacking side here. What are you thinking of their comp at the moment?
It's pretty standard. Pichu on Roadhog is always a good choice for them. Mirai is very good at Soldier, and Symmetra does play a pretty good Lucio. I'm expecting a lot of good play from them. Weezing is also extremely key with his defense matrix for them. And the defending team comp is honestly fairly similar to Slow Cooker's on attack. It's both triple tank. It's interesting to see so much triple tank meta coming out even after the nerf for Ana. But, I mean, it's still viable. It's just a slightly less viable. Like, now it's an option as opposed to before where it was more or less mandatory if you wanted to win.
It's interesting to see from the side of Slow Cooker just how flexible their roles actually are. We're seeing A's, Weezing, and Symmetra play so many different things this time around, and Once again, as the push starts coming in, going through behind bus, going straight into the
straight into
hotels
cinema.
section.
Yeah. They're going to do the cinema push and probably hold high ground if at all possible. It's going to be interesting to see if they make the mistake that you guys did earlier and push up super far. They're not, though. They're going to hold on the point. And pretty much everyone except for Pichu and A's get to the high ground.
Mirai getting himself a lovely position here, repositioning as much as he possibly can to stay behind that Reinhardt shield to get damage fully down. Deja Vu taken almost instantly down. It's Homemade Pizza drops onto the point, takes down Solan Storm.
Portacustis takes out the Diva mech, but they've completely repulsed the enemy team off the point. They may be able to take it if they don't get aggressive and get on.
Pichu with another hook once again. Homemade Pizza charging straight out. Portacustos knocks out for the counter.
Just not enough aggression from Funky Plebs. Funky Plebs had space. They could have even just wasted time, but at this point, Slow Cooker has 5.5 minutes to take the easiest part of this entire map.
Ults also available to now come out from the Slow Cooker as Weezing just pushing forward with that defense matrix, now putting the job over to Homemade Pizza. Pichu getting another lovely hook straight in onto Deja Vu.
Deja Vu taken out immediately.
Kaz trying to
using the ult, but it's not working with so much shield. It's just
taken
really
down, not taken down, but
not
getting hooked
down.
straight in. Silent Storm getting a 2-man ult
but
there.
he slept. Oh, why'd they wake him up? Oh well.
And there's the switch coming out once
through
again.
though. Yep.
Hammer on hammer action right now as we're seeing the Diva and the Soldier just
Diva
push
and
up.
Soldier just moving out to create space for the team, because if they can just aggress the people and keep them from moving in, they'll have so much space. They have 4.5 minutes to push it all of like 20 meters.
One corner left here, and it's looking so far that this is going to be quite the easy push for them as Deja Vu and Kaz trying to do their best, but Tactical Visor coming out from the back lines here
Winston
as
jumping in.
Mirai just doing so much work on the back line of this fight, but taken down once again. Deja Vu getting the ult down onto
only person
Pichu.
aggressing the point.
0.3
Portacustis moving up. Portacustis taken out though, and that's game!
With 4 minutes to spare, such a quick attacking round from the Slow Cooker.
It's an hour and 10-minute cast. Actually. Yeah,
and we've
hour
still
and
got
10
plenty
minutes.
to go.
This is it. Slow Cooker 2. Funky Plebs 1 in the first 4 game of this series, as far as I'm aware. Oh, Pichu, play of the game.
We still have a potential of 2 more maps coming out here as well.
We don't. This is it.
Oh, so it is, actually, yeah. This could also be a tie.
No, it's not a tie. It's 2-1.
So
no, it's not a best of 5, like, as in the whole game. This is... Best of 5 was if they were going to be playing on Nepal.
Now I see.
Yeah, so it's a 3... like, this is a 4 game, which is unusual for this entire tournament so far. This is the first one that I know of. But it is over with Slow Cooker 2, Funky Plebs 1, which means that they will get points towards the overall in the round robin. But they did lose. So, with that, what did you think of the teams?
Slow Cooker, honestly, surprising me once again. I really did not expect that level of aggression or that much clean play coming out from them. Funky Plebs just seem to be taken aback by it entirely and not really managing to do much to counter the aggression or the momentum that was coming out from the Slow Cooker.
Funky Plebs on King's Row, they should have gotten on the point. Even if it was like a losing match, they really needed to get on that point because it was just lost from the moment that they just stopped walking on. Like, the entire game was probably lost at that point because they should have moved in. They should have at least wound down the time because the Streets phase is the easiest to push through in the entire game, I think. Like, in my personal opinion, the Streets phase on King's Row is the easiest to push through if you have any coordination at all. And it was just done. Just done from that point. But, I mean, it was a good showing from both teams. Funky Plebs, like, Kaz was their star player, for sure. He definitely was putting out so much damage. Deja Vu was working extremely well on Reinhardt while he was working Reinhardt, and he was doing very good as Roadhog when he switched to Roadhog. But Slow Cooker's Pichu really, really is the dominant Roadhog out of both of them. He has so many good hooks, so much damage coming out of him. It was just impressive the entire game. Slow Cooker's star player, sadly, even though their namesake is Symmetra, Pichu, definitely their star player this match and the last match too, I believe.
Somebody we will have to look forward to seeing once again with so many weeks left on this, but with changes coming up with season 2, he will be probably going into a much higher division team as he's climbed so heavily through the season. With play like that, you can see just how easily he must have done that as well, working very hard on that.
Mm. Should be good. Should be interesting. But that's about it for this match, and hope you all have a nice day.
Bye bye.